35, 40, or 45 is not as old as it is considered on the internet. I see posts and comments all the time about people saying that anything over 30 is old and over 40 is too old. I just don't get this notion. Of course, a clear explanation of this would be that the majority of the vocal audience on the internet falls in the 16-24 age group, and the older you get, the less inclined you are to comment on random videos. So, for this young demographic, of course 30 would be old and anything over 40 would be ancient. However, the problem arises when people start to believe it quite literally and adopt this mentality into their daily life. I've seen many people in the mid to late 30s and early 40s age group complain about being old and it being too late for them to change their life around. This is absolute nonsense as far as I am concerned, especially regarding the matter of fitness. 30s are actually supposed to be the prime of your life. You are experienced and mature enough to not make the silly mistakes that you did in your 20s, yet you are still fit, athletic, and healthy enough to engage in any physical activity you want. Sure, there are people who get terrible joint and knee problems in their 30s, but that is a reflection of their poor lifestyle choices catching up to them. One can't keep getting away with bad lifestyle choices forever. Besides, the modern sedentary lifestyle is not very fitness-friendly. If you stay reasonably fit, active and injury-free, then your body won't really start breaking down until your 60s, if even that. So, all in all, 30s and 40s are actually the prime of your life, as you have the happy medium between fitness, mental maturity, and wisdom. Considering oneself old in one's 30s and 40s is a defeatist mentality. Before you assume that I am some middle-aged person going on a rant, let me tell you that I am not. I am 22, and I've seen firsthand how people's lives get better and more fulfilling in their 30s and 40s, especially if they look after their health. So, it bothers me when people get in this defeatist mindset. LOL, younger gens will always dunk on older gens. It's just the way it goes. 30 is basically 80-year-olds to a teenager. 60 is the new 30 if you can consistently eat healthy, do cardio, and get good sleep. I'm 45 and I just completed my last class to become a full-fledged volunteer firefighter. I'm kicking my midlife crisis ass. Agreed. I also am annoyed by the millennial trend of look at us, we are all old and our backs and knees hurt and we are old, haha. We aren't. Our backs and knees hurt undeniably. We are aging. But we are not old. We are in our prime. I agree. At 34 I feel free and relaxed. I've done so much stuff. Hope these teenagers do as much as we did till over the 30 age mark. I'm glad we didn't have TikTok and all the mass media social media there is today. We had shit internet, but we had fun. We had fun playing Counter-Strike and Red Alert 2 on LAN. We were kinda specialists in making neighborhood LAN parties. We had High Five and Yahoo Messenger. We used emails to prank one another. And we liked to go outside and play good times. People can have health issues regardless of their lifestyle. I've had a bad knee since I was in grade school, and despite being a healthy weight and working out 30 minutes 1 hour a day, I still ended up with diabetes. There is also mental health, which can be affected by things outside of lifestyle as well. I'm 35, but mentally I'm 35. I see anyone under the age of 25 as a kid. Agree. I'm 35 and in the best shape of my life. I've never been overweight and I can still smash the young dudes in grappling and jiu-jitsu. I'm kinda surprised at how overweight a lot of young kids are nowadays. It's very sad to see. I see some people saying someone looks good for 40 and I'm like, do you know how people in their 40s look like? They still look young and barely have lines. They probably look a bit older because of the way they dress, but people on internet act like they're on their deathbed. The average life expectancy is like 70 to 75 years. At 35 to 40 you're only halfway done with life. They are entitled to their opinion, I'm not arguing. I consider myself old, but don't let it stop me from achieving new goals or whatever. I don't need to be a fucking influencer or be popular and pretty for that. I can do whatever I want. Yep. 38 here, and at least strength aesthetically I'm in the best shape of my life, and I've always been in good shape compared to my peers. Yes, I've got some nagging joint issues here and there, but they in no way hinder my progress or my ability to do whatever I want. Sure, if you stop doing stuff after high school, college, you're probably gonna feel like shit. That has less to do with age and more to do with not doing anything to stay healthy. We don't stop playing because we grow old because we stop playing, quote I heard somewhere. It's not rocket science. The older you get, the less old ages around you seem. Kids will think 40-year-olds are ancient. 30-year-olds will think 40's not old at all. It's all relative. Proof that hive mind is dangerous and false. It is ridiculous. I'm actually old enough to remember when 30-year-olds were old. That was back in the 90s. I don't know if it was the public smoking bans that started in the 90s, advances in skin care, or some other third thing, but by the early 2000s people stopped looking old in their 30s. Nowadays you have to be 50-ish to maybe possibly show some signs of aging. I am 47 and I run for an hour every Sunday. They have a point, and it's not about defeatism, but rather contrast. As someone ages 43, 20, 25 or 30 now seems too young and immature. It is I who is at the prime, it's called middle age. At this stage in life, we get the best of both worlds, aged wisdom with still decent youthful vigor and little to no signs of dementia. Now kindly evacuate my lawn. I got referred to as kids the other day. I'm 41. The Always Sunny guys are 40. At 34 I know I'm young in the grand scheme of life. But when you're working with people that don't even remember Katrina, you start feeling a little advanced in age. This isn't an unpopular opinion. The internet is just full of children that have no idea how the world works. Too old for what? Because context matters. This post lifted me up, thank you. When I was like 10, I thought 40s was old because that's what my parents were. I'm in my mid-20s and now people in their 40s don't look old at all, and anyone a few years younger than me looks like a child. Perspective is weird as you age. They will soon reach the same age as the people they complain about. I changed my life around at 50, moved to Asia, sit on beaches, drink coffee, buy way too expensive graphics card and in general have a blast. And by the way, could you see that at age 22 already wisdom is sometimes very unrelated to age. I'm 59, old is 85. Experience is always underestimated by the young. I save the right to call you old when what you talk about something that happened a generation before me. For example, I have extended family who's only 10 years older, and they claim we're really not that different, but in reality a lot changes in 10 years, while yes you can relate, but not on the down-low level, in general. Sure. I hope to live a very long life if just to watch this generation have to deal with being on the other end of this sort of criticism and transition into shocked Pikachu. That mentality is nothing new, been going on probably since the beginning of mankind. The young are too inexperienced with life to realize what old is, they only realize with getting older. I am 43 and still remember being a teenager and thinking that 30 sounded so old. I am never disappointed when young people call this old, though hopefully they will reach this point eventually and see that it is not so old. Plus my grandmother is in her 90s and is still as independent and spunky as ever, so I don't plan to act or feel old for a long time. I'm 24 and people aged 19-20 call me ancient. Repeat this in 10 years. There are 80-year-olds who are more fun to hang around with than 25-year-olds.